All right. Good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. I'm your host, Brandon Choi, co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited, and welcome to this SDCC exclusive edition of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. As you well know, you were with us a few moments ago. That this is today is the unofficial, I guess you can say, start of Comic Con. For those that are familiar with the show, today is preview night. Tomorrow being quote unquote the official day. So we will be here on site to give you guys the goings on of what's happening this past, or say this week of San Diego Comic Con. And as I said, you were with us moments ago. We had Dan Goldman with us talking about what he is, bringing to San Diego Comic Con with his mangitas. But we do have an additional guest joining us as well. So give me one moment and I will introduce them. All right, so on deck now is the documentary Stan Lee, the Final Chapter, a doc which chronicles the shocking reality of Stan Lee's final years. Through never before seen footage and firsthand accounts, the documentary provides a peek into the life of one of pop culture's most influential figures, providing an intimate look at the challenges he faced behind the scenes. Originally premiering at the Dances with Films Festival, joining us now ahead of its screening at Comic Con tomorrow is the documentary's filmmaker, John Bolerjack. Let me bring him on now. John, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. So glad to have you on here. I did have a chance to see the documentary. It was not an easy watch. So, in just talking about that film and the formation of the film, uh, could you share with me, because I mean there's a lot of information that you share, and it's a lot to process of what had transpired. Talk to me about making the decision to really move forward with this film.
I mean, the decision itself is actually probably the easiest part because you can decide to do something. It's actually executing it that becomes the hard part. But I mean, deciding
Sure.
it is just. I mean, when you have, I mean, it's something that people don't realize is that when you're one of the only people that have the truth of something that's really important that lives on a hard drive and lives in your memory, you're the only thing between the truth and it never coming out. So, I mean, the weight of responsibility for that is like, even if I didn't, you know, really feel like or I wanted to give up or something, I mean, I'm obligated by the importance of the truth to put that out. I mean, if I just put it on a shelf, I die in a car accident, I lose the hard drive, whatever, the truth is gone forever. And it's a pretty big weight to have to carry and know that you have to do it. So I mean, that's really the decision. I mean, the decision was sort of made for me in a sense because who's going to deny the world the truth of something of such importance to know what happened to such a iconic American figure. You're just obligated by just duty to put that out.
Yeah. And speaking to that, when you're talking about just the approach when it comes to doing documentaries, can you share with me how you were able to determine? I mean, obviously there was lots of footage of interactions that were had in those final years that Stanley had at conventions, at various appearances that he had, and then BTS moments as well, of coming to a decision of what would make it into the film, because as you said, you wanted to make sure that it was truthful. But I mean, I'm sure there were still some things where it it was a really tough decision of deciding if it would make it into the film or not.
Yeah, I mean, the first rough cut we had was 3 hours long. And at some point in time, it's like, you have the general outline of what happened, and then you want to fill those gaps in. But what ends up happening is when you have the 3 hour version, it's all there, but you have to start, you have to feel for the audience here. You can't if you want to show something, say, oh, Stan's money went missing, and you want to touch upon that, you want to show that, right? If his money goes missing six other times, well, the question becomes, do they care as much on the sixth time? Are they fatigued because they already know that money's going missing? Do you need to show them six times to for them to understand the weight of what's happening, to feel the emotional, impact of that? If you can edit it down and make it more concise and more clear to the viewer, one, you're saving the viewer, an hour and a half of their life that and two, you pick the most powerful moments that make it most clear. You don't want to give them six examples and five of which are kind of harder to follow when one will do and makes it clear what's happening. And so that's just editing in general, whether it's a movie, whether it's a documentary. You want to keep drilling down to the most core and clear truth. So that's just time. I mean, that's just one of those things that when it was 3 hours, I thought it was impossible to cut. Everything is important. We have to see everything. But then as we started, taking things out, it made it stronger in its clarity. And that's just a process of, you don't know till you're doing it. That when you've made it just right.
Gotcha. And I mean, I'm sure it's not lost on you. Based off of what has the audiences that you have shown to thus far. There have been mixed
Mhm.
reactions on both ends, and understandably so. Uh, what 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 was that always something that was daunting for you? In presenting this to the world, because I understand that, at least from what was shared in the doc, of trying to share with the proper parties that would be able to do something about it, and not having anything from what I understand being done. And then also, on the other side of things, knowing that a lot of this was happening, during that time that you were with Stan, of trying to trying to reconcile those things. Has that been a interesting journey in being
Well,
able to battle that?
what's interesting actually is that, to your first point about the people, so there are two camps of people right now, right? They're the people that have actually seen the film, and then there are people who have heard about the film or just seen earlier things about it, right? Everyone who has seen the actual film, all the creators from top down, from Roy Thomas and Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane, all the way, to the friend that I have that I showed. Everyone who has seen the film likes the film. Strangers who have seen the film likes the film. It's been very overwhelmingly positive to the people who have viewed the film. The strongest pushback, negativity comes from people who have read a random post on Reddit from a guy, or just seen part of a blog thing or something. They have no concept of what's actually in the film itself. So I feel actually very strongly with the reception that's received, that once people actually see the finished product, it's going to be generally, as it has been thus far, well received. The second part of what you're talking about is, yes, I mean, it's extremely frustrating to have tried to do the thing of, people ask, well, did you go to the police? Did you go to this or that? And the answer is yes. All of those places have had been reached out to, but we don't live in a Law and Order SVU world where you get a detective and within a nice hour the whole case is wrapped up in a bow. I mean, the world is just not operate that like that. And I think people, when it comes to something personal, like they feel towards Stan, being a fan, him being a famous person, you want to live outside of your common sense world, where that's not how it works, because you want to believe that, like, justice works for old guys like Stan, justice works for your heroes, justice works for your mom. And the story itself is just the harsh reality that is just not the way it is, unfortunately. And this hopefully serves as a warning to people that if this happens to Stan in broad daylight, what chance does your mom have? What chance does your brother, your son, your daughter have? And it really puts the onus back on the individual, that you're the guy. You're the dude that's going to stop this. You have to pay attention to your parents, to your loved ones, because it's not help is not necessarily coming, from above. And so I think the harsh reality is really shocking for people. They don't want to accept the fragility that you could find yourself in, at any given moment. It's scary. It's a scary thing. I'm sure when you were watching the movie, you were probably like, how does this happen? Like you're there, you see something happen, and you're like, how does this happen? How does no one do? That's just the unfortunate thing.
But I mean, that's why I wanted to bring it up too,
Yeah,
because I mean, while you would have that viewpoint,
yeah,
it also makes sense of as difficult as it can be of being in a being in a role and being in a position where that decision making, it
hmm,
can be overruled
hmm, hmm,
or vetoed. So
yeah,
it is a weird kind of predicament to be in.
yeah.
So in speaking, further to that, have there been? Are you able to speak to what the plans are, going forward in terms of the journey? I mean, as I said, you've already premiered the film. It will be showing at here at Comic Con tomorrow. Uh, what are the next steps of what you intend as the journey for this doc? Of course, before it has its broader release. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
I
in
mean,
terms of the circuit.
yeah, so I mean, so right now, I mean, we're basically, my sort of edict to the team that I work with is I want this everywhere. I will stand on Hollywood Boulevard with a TV screen and a speaker around my thing, and I will show, like, I just want this out there. I want it on, Netflix. I want it on wherever. I want it everywhere, right? The problem is just getting that done, getting that into the hands, getting the right people to say yes, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we're just taking it as it comes, like I'm really excited because at least San Diego is like the actual hardcore. They're the guys, they're the girls and the guys who really are in this world. I think it's really important that they see it. I think it's important that they tell other people about it, their thoughts, their opinions. Not everyone's going to love everything, but I think I want the conversation out there. And so for future facing, if I would like this to continue to pick up the steam it's been picking on and get the notice of the bigger streamers, the bigger companies, to give it a second look and consider it, to make sure that it gets out there. I mean, I don't care if it ends up on YouTube, wherever it ends up is fine, as long as people see it. That's the real goal, is I want it seen, by as many people as
For
possible.
sure. For sure. And I mean, I have to ask. I mean, you're not to get into some lighter things. You're not a stranger to Comic Con at all, and
Hmm.
I always like to ask folks, what their how they go about balancing how their week goes between, obviously your commitments here with the documentary, but also some things for yourself. What what are some of the things that you're planning to do to kind of do that work life balance? I suppose being here at Comic Con
Oh, dude, there's
for
no
this
there. I
year's
mean,
show.
you work for yourself. You do this thing. There's no such thing as work life balance. There's just work, and then a little bit of life balance in the middle. In the middle. It's all, even now. I found a quiet part of a hotel. I'm doing this interview, and then as soon as I'm done with this, I got to go right to the booth and help get the booth set up. And I was pushing a cart yesterday at San Diego, just to my booth with all these boxes. And I saw a friend of mine, and I was like, look, dude, I got a movie here at the show, and I'm pushing, I'm sweating, and I'm pushing this box to the booth. You have to keep that mentality. And making this movie has not been easy, and it's been like just a forever push, and something tries to stop you, and you just got to keep pushing that thing forward to make it happen. I mean, that's just the name of the game if you want stuff to happen.
Absolutely. So, uh, wrap it up there. Appreciate it so much, John. Just for those of you out there, the doc will debut on VOD July 28th on Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, Fandango at Home, YouTube, and other digital platforms. But before I let you go, John, can you tell folks where they can find you?
Yes, thank you for that. I was just in my head right now. I was like, I gotta let them know too. So this movie will be premiering here at San Diego Comic Con on Thursday night at 8:15. It's going to be in room 6D and 6E. They actually extended out into two rooms so we could accommodate everyone. But it's at 8:15 on Thursday, so you can do the whole show, wait in your lines, get your signatures, all that stuff, and then right there at the show, you just need a wristband, or you just need to have the badge from the show, obviously. But come see it. It's free when you're already at the show, and I think it's really important to see it. I hopefully it serves as a catalyst so we can keep eyes out on other people that this may be happening to, at the show. And, so I appreciate your time, man.
Absolutely. So again, I want to thank John John, for hopping on and talking about Stan Lee, the final years. I'm your host, Brandon Troy, co-creator of Movies and Shakers Unlimited. You can find me at Brandon Troy ENT on X and then Brandon Troy _ ENT on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be safe out there and see you guys soon.